7 on our Season 4 leaderboard. And Vikram Kudva, someone I actually saw a decent amount in Seattle PTQs, so it's possible that he may have just moved out here or took the James Wynn approach of $100 flight, got to do this. It's a polluted delta to start. Anderson going to search up a prairie stream, get this show on the road. So you got to appreciate that time saver.
Todd just trying to shortcut, and doing this instead at the end of the turn here saves Todd probably 10 or 15 seconds. You do this over and over again over the course of the match. Those are extra minutes. Extra minutes means more matches go to the conclusion instead of ending in a draw. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Todd going to search up a land with polluted delta. He falls down to 18 to play a Jace. Kudva going to draw a card here. It's a Caves of Koilos and an ultimate price. No blue mana just yet here for Vikram. And we're going to go back Anderson's way as his Jace has been taken care of. Crackling Doom to draw. Here's another Jace. That is a shambling event. Pass turn back. Kudva does have something that we have not seen much of this weekend, which are a lot of copies of Silk Wrap.
4 main deck copies of Silk Wrap and an ultimate price and a Ruinous Path. 2 copies of Murderous Cut. He's got a lot of good answers to Jace, which is important because his deck being kind of a slower creature deck is pretty vulnerable to Jace. Jace flashing back removal spells is something that Kudva's deck is quite vulnerable to, so he needs to have a lot of answers.
Flood of String going to find a basic island here for Vikram. And maybe we'll see something like a Gideon on the way. Tap before mana pretty quick. And there is Gideon, Ally of Justice. Ally of Zendikar. Excuse me.
And this right here is the major downside to the way that Todd's deck is constructed. He is susceptible to Planeswalkers, most notably Gideon.
Yep. Down to 2 goes the Gideon from Crackling Doom. Night Ally down. Well, nice thing is he can just fire up Shambling Event and finish it off. Ooh, I'm surprised. Just going to leave Oceanized Command for now. Maybe thinking he wants to get Jace back.
Yep. Especially with a Crackling Doom in the graveyard that can finish off the Gideon regardless.
Yep. Gideon going to go stay at 2. Now this is on the stack. And now here's Crackling Doom. Got it. That'll take care of those 2 cards. Okay, nice play there from Todd. Able to get actual, it feels like maximum value there.
Right. By pausing there, he was able to get the Seeker First trouble as well instead of just the token.
Oh, there's a Sorin. Looks like that's going to resolve. It'll go up. Here's an attack for 3. Anderson looking at Ochiai's Command in hand right now. He's going to take that damage. And now here's Ochiai's Command. Jace coming on back. And draw a card. 5 cards in the graveyard, so Jace can easily flip now, as Anderson's going to untap and take a draw step here. Picked up a copy of Utter End, clean answer to the Planeswalker. We mentioned it right when we saw Luis Scott Vargas to start our day. The thing about Jeskai Black, you can build it so many different ways.
Yes. Be interesting to see what Todd is willing to do here. If he casts the Utter End right now, he prevents Kudva from making a token, but he puts the shields down to Ochiai's Command, which makes him vulnerable to any creature that follows up. Most notably, Wingmate Rock, Dragon Lord Ochiai. There's some good 5s that Kudva could easily have in his deck right now.
Anderson just going to pass the turn with an active Jace. Kudva with quite a few cards in hand, Monastery Mentor among them, as we're working our way into the mid-game here. And now there is a Monastery Mentor. Here's Ochiai's Command. Going to counter that and draw a card, Will Anderson. Sorin going to tick up. There's a block with Jace and go active. Draw, discard.
And Todd's honestly probably happy to see this Sorin go up rather than down because he's Utter End to answer it anyway.
Yep.
So the Sorin will end up not being worth a whole lot.
Like for Anderson right now, he's just looking for lands.
Yep.
Spells aren't a problem. Gonna tick up, slow down that Knight ally. You mentioned Utter End. I think it's on the way, and it is. Soaring down. Bloodstained Mire was the land, and now Anderson gets to pass the turn back, and I think he might have Murderous Cut at the ready. It's a Plains here for Kudva. And now that is a Jace of his own. That'll be in there. Not sure how long it's going to stay around, but it's in there.
This is a small thing, but if I'm Kudva, the first order of business I would have done on that turn is enter combat with the token, because Todd might use a removal spell on the token out of respect for a raid trigger.
Sure.
It costs you nothing to say move to combat.
Yep.
And you might get Todd to kill something he otherwise wouldn't kill.
And then your Jace is still around.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but again, it costs nothing, so you might as well do it.
Smoldering Marsh via the fetch line. You see Todd's going to have to delve away some cards from Murderous Cut. So there goes a Crackling Doom, a couple fetch lands. And the cut took care of the Jace. I can see the appeal of this deck. This is the first time me seeing it in action, because I wasn't in Philly.
Really flexible, really smooth, and no Manus Riders that allow your opponent's Silk Wraps and Ruinous Pass to line up in an effective way.
I think smooth is the best way to describe it. It's just so he feels like he's playing a pretty fluid game, even though he's been stuck on lands.
A lot of the times I watch Todd play this build of the deck, game one, eventually the opponent draws one removal spell too much, and that's the end of the game.
Sure. I figure out how he wants to tap the mana here for, I think, a Soulfire Grandmaster. There that is. Now we're going to go back over to Kudva. Kudva will draw. And it looks like he's got a Monastery Mentor. The follow-up is a Silk Wrap. That's going to bring a Monk along with it. Anderson with Fiery Impulse in hand. He might want to fire this off now, given that it'll still have lifelink. And he will take care of the Mentor, so he's going to gain some life here. Silk Wrap will take care of the Soulfire Grandmaster. A Monk token on the way. Jacob Wilson, our acting Monk token here on the Open Series, our Season 1 Invitational Champion. Now here's Kolaghan's command. Get back Jace. Anderson will draw. Here is Jace. Pass that turn back. Well, this may have been a good draw. The way he's reaching for his graveyard.
Yeah, 2 Treasure Cruises in the main.
Wow. That's a heck of a draw step there for Vikram.
Just when it looked like he was kind of on empty and Anderson was ready to take this game over. Ancestral Recall to the rescue.
Yeah, I thought Todd had done a really nice job of exhausting him down. Draw 3 cards now. Silk Wrap, Gideon, I think Prairie Stream. Well, this turn got good. There goes Jace. Here come the beatdowns. And Monk token's gonna be a little bit bigger too because a couple spells were cast here.
Yeah, can't attack with the Knight token there because Todd can simply animate the Shambling Vent and block.
Yep.
But there's been 2 Prowess triggers, so that token's a 3/3 and safe to attack.
Another Jace here from Anderson. He'll pass the turn back, hoping to get to use this thing. Vikram will draw. Duress to go along with Gideon. Gonna lead out with Duress. Roast down. Yep. And now here's Gideon. That's the last card for Kudva. Gonna cash it in for a Crusade effect.
Well, he wants to get the Knight into a position that it can attack with the Shambling Vent.
Yeah.
If he keeps on cranking out 2/2s with Gideon, well, that's all still locked up by the land. So this way he's at least pushing through the Shambling Vent.
Keep in mind the Shambling Vent on Kudva's side as well.
Yeah.
Kind of hiding in there. There's actually 2 over there. And now Anderson's got to take a long look at the graveyard. You're going to start by activating Jace. Time to draw on discard. Painful Truths. Not you. Anyone but you, Painful Truths.
So close to being good. If he was at, like 8 or 9, it'd be awesome here, but he might just have to let this go.
I think he is going to have to let it go. Looks like he might let Soulfire Grandmaster go. Yeah, Painful Truth's down. Jace going to flip. What I think we might see here too is Soulfire Grandmaster, Flashback Fiery Impulse. Kill something, get some life. Could be Kolaghan's command too. He's got a lot of options down there.
Yeah, you can raise dead with it, get another blocker.
Yep. Get back Jace, which is what he's going to do.
It's no end of 2-for-1s in Todd's deck, that's for sure.
That's what this deck is built to do. The vent has been fired up. Remember, 3-power vent because of that Gideon emblem. What's this? Murderous cut.
Some nice draws here.
You can't complain. Not if you're Kudva.
He's empty-handed too, so he's needed every one of these.
Yep. Jace down, gain some life. Put Anderson down to 4. And now Todd's going to need one heck of a draw step. Jace, Shambling Vent on D. Pass the turn back. Kudva immediately reaching for his Shambling Vent. He'll fire up. Anderson going to block with his. So gain a little bit of life, lose some life. I think it's going to fall down to 3 in the exchange. And now Seeker of the Way.
It's another spell, another lethal threat.
Yep. Vikram's draw step is certainly cooperating with him right now. And Todd's going to take a long look at the graveyard again to see if there's any way out.
Kudva hasn't drawn a land in a while.
Fire Impulse is not horrible.
Well, there's 3 lethal attackers against a Jace activation. I suppose he can flash back and kill something.
You can flash back Oceanize command, my friend.
Okay.
Yep. Get back Soulfire Grandmaster, gain 4 life. Fiery Impulse a creature, gain more life. And hope that Vikram finally draws a land. Maybe that's the plan.
Well, the land gets him closer to activating the second Shambling Vent, so it's not clear that's a reprieve here, but...
That's true. Fire it up. Coming on in. Fiery Impulse. Get the Seeker of the Way out of here, gain some life. You can take the damage.
Yep.
And maybe he can draw something to loop with the Soulfire Grandmaster. These two are really going at it. And no spell. Jace. Fair enough. Fast turn back.
And this Jace has to be killed right now because
yeah.
Plenty of removal in the graveyard.
Roast the draw. That's +5 life. And then he gets to do with ooh, that's nasty. Gets to do with buyback. That was nasty.
Yeah, that's a huge draw. Gets the Jace off the table, gains a bunch of life.
Gonna get in with the Soulfire Grandmaster. He's gonna lose his Jace. Well, there's no guarantee he'll lose his Jace because the Shambling Vent can decide where it wants to go, but...
if I'm Kudva, I'm getting the Jace off the table.
I think you have to, right? And he drew a land finally.
A land next turn, though, and now both the Shambling Vents are on.
It's very true. Anderson gonna draw. But Anderson's life total is getting very, very high.
Yeah, he's got Roast with buyback going.
Yep. That's 5 more life. Get in here. He's getting 7 life a turn. He might actually catch up to Kudva's life total now.
Well,
this
is ideal. Kudva can't really put a creature into play. His best plan from here is probably just animate 2 Shambling Vents a turn, attack for 6.
Gain 6.
Never put a creature on a play that you can roast until he finds the answer to the Soulfire Grandmaster. What a display here from Todd, though.
This has been really back and forth. I can't believe Todd was able to come back here.
Yeah.
And he hasn't won the game yet, but he's needed every draw step just like Kudva has.
Yep.
For each of these players to get into this situation. So he's just going to serve it with just 1 vent.
I think Kudva there needed to get a swamp or a sunken hollow or something.
Anderson going to sacrifice the fetch land.
Because 2 Shambling Vents attacking a turn, maybe that's something that will allow Kudva to win the race. 1 attacking a turn. And Todd's basically got that covered just via Soulfire Grandmaster attacks.
Well, let's go Anderson's way. What's his draw step going to yield? Just the plains. Soulfire Grandmaster going to come in. Keep in mind, Soulfire Grandmaster been a very popular card this weekend in the matches that we have watched. This is the best it's looked, that's for sure. Fire up the vent, come on across. Now Anderson gets to draw. I think it may have been a duress. Attack here for 2. Folks, we could be here for a while. Both these creatures having lifelink. Duress. Yeah. The hand for Vikram, I think, is going to be creatures a lot.
Yeah, he cannot put a random ground creature into play.
Yeah. Not until that Soulfire Grandmaster's dealt with. Get in with the Shambling Vent. Anderson's going to fall down to 12. Kudva going to go up to 33. Pass the turn back. Anderson will draw. Bloodstained Mire. Bloodstained Mire is the land. Pass the turn back. Then going to duress again because it's just a freebie.
Yeah.
So he gets to see a second copy of Seeker of the Way. Fire it up. We like to call this a holding pattern. That's what we call this.
Well, Kudva's making a small amount of progress here.
A touch.
It's doing a pointed turn.
Okay. Well, I guess my question now becomes, what's the best draw for each player?
For Kudva, he's got another copy of Treasure Cruise. He's got Obnixilis, which is perfect right now. Obnixilis would be a big swing. And Dragon Lord Ojutai, 2 copies. So some big draws.
What do we see on Todd's side? What are his best draws in a situation like this? Where these players are going back and forth with the life linking?
Treasure Cruise of his own. Basically any reasonable spell. Crackling Doom is probably great here, and then because that cuts off the Shambling Vents.
Kudva going to fire both vents now. Now Anderson's had a roast and a duress the entire time, and now, ooh, Fiery Impulse.
Yeah, and that's brutal here for Kudva. Same way that Crackling Doom is bad news.
Yep.
Now the Shambling Vents are locked out.
He's going to go, okay, yeah, he's going to kill 1, okay. Going to gain 6 life in that exchange and then take 3. But now 1 Shambling Vent is left. And again, Kudva's in this spot where he can't play creatures because then roast with buyback starts happening. And now the players just got to make sure they get the life totals right here.
Yeah, because Todd picks up 6 points off the Fiery Impulse.
Yep.
Loses 3 because the vent hits him.
All right, back Anderson's way. He'll draw. I think it was duress again. But he can feel free to fire off again. Just more creatures, 2 Seeker of the Ways and a Jace. Aha!
All right, there's something. There is something.
There's a Silk Wrap to break serve.
That was a big one. Now Vikram can start playing Magic again.
Yes. Deploy those creatures. There's Seeker of the Way. Pass the turn back. Anderson will draw. Oh, no. Yeah, shoulder shrug.
Yep, that'll play.
Yeah, Dragonmaker Outcast. You better have an answer for that now. No reason to cast Duress. He knew his hand. He knew what he top decked too. Flooded Strand was the draw. And now I think dragons are coming to town. Vikram needs to get this game over with very fast. Here's an attack for 6. Seeker of the Way, Jace, pass. Anderson, gonna make a dragon. Keep in mind, still has that roast. Drew a Bloodstained Mire. Might be time to cast that roast.
Yeah, he can't. He has to make sure his outcast stays alive, and there's a Murderous Cut down there still.
Yep, Duress is no good. Pass the turn back. Kudva tapping mana pretty quick. Yikes.
Well, that one's not very good now. That Anderson's cranking out some dragons.
Okay.
If it was Obnixilis, that would have been really bad news, but Anderson can handle this play.
What's next? He's tapping more mana. Ha! Obnixilis. Gonna kill Dragmaster Outcast. Anderson will draw. Mystic Monastery.
Yeah, I think his hand right now is just lands in that Duress. And he definitely does not want Kudva to get another look with the Obnixilis. But if he attacks with both, he just dies on the way back.
Yep. There's Flooded Strand. Sacrifice the Flooded Strand. Kudva gonna search up a Sunken Hollow. Pay a life, draw a card. Polluted Delta, not what the doctor ordered here for Vikram. Don't know if he can attack or not. I don't think so.
Well, I think hanging back right now favors him if he attacks, Anderson just trades a token with the Ojutai, and then the dragon can finish off Nicholas. This way, Kudva can hang back, draw 2 cards a turn. If he ever finds removal spells for the dragons, then he can start attacking, but he's also advantaged if the game keeps going like this.
Now here's Gideon. That'll trigger Prowess on Seeker of the way. He'll cash it in. And that will do it. Vikram Kudva is going to win game number 1 here over Todd Anderson. Esper Tokens up a game over Jeskai Black, and that's a heck of a game. That's probably our best game of the weekend so far.
That was a really back and forth affair there, where it looked like Todd was beat early, had stabilized, but some fortuitous draws there for Kudva allowed him to finish off the deal. I mean, that was really back and forth.
Sideboard's here for both players. We're going to start with Anderson as he'll be on the play. 2 Master of the Unseen and Negate, 2 Radiant Flames, 2 Ration Clerks. In a race, 2 Dispels, 3 copies of Infinite Obliteration, and then 2 Disdainful Strokes.
I like Disdainful Stroke a lot in this matchup. I like his copy of Negate here as he's susceptible to the Planeswalkers. This also seems like a good matchup for Master of the Unseen. He can remove Kudva's earlier plays. The game slows down, and Mastery is worth a lot in games that look like that.
Other side of things here for Vikram, 2 Search of Righteousness, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 2 Infinite Obliteration, 2 Stratus Dancer, 2 Disdainful Stroke, and a couple of one-ofs here in Master of the Unseen, Ultimate Price, Dispel, Languish, and Planar Outburst.
Like Dispel, like Ultimate Price, I like the Master of the Unseen, the Disdainful Strokes, and the Stratus Dancers.
Good options here for both players.
Yep, I think Todd gets a little bit better of it, but it's close. Both players have solid sideboards for the matchups.
And what makes this kind of interesting, too, you saw the first game took about 20 minutes. Players are going to have to probably pick up the pace, especially if we work towards a 3rd game.
Yeah.
I don't think that every game's going to play out like what we just saw, but I don't think any game's going to be quick here either.
Well, it's also a function of Todd's deck list. I mean, you never see him get the cheap Manus Rider into removal spell type of draws to finish the game early. It's always a grind with Anderson's build of this deck. It takes a long time for him to finish games. Todd plays really fast.
Yes.
But this matchup's on the slower side, and I would be worried right now about what a 3-game match would look like.
Players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Anderson will be on the play. We're talking Fall Creature Collection here with StarCityGames.com. That means we're talking playmats, sleeves, and bundles of some of your game night favorites.
Yeah, the Fall Collection is here. You have the Hippo, the Otter, the Reindeer, and Penguillian Click. All available on playmats, sleeves, and play bundles over at StarCityGames.com/Creature Collection or our dealer booth at any of our opens or any Grand Prix that we're at.
We will have a winter 2016 collection for you guys in the beginning of 2016, so look forward to that, of course. But in the meantime, we're talking Todd Anderson, and we're talking the player with the most Open Series top 8s in history. And for him, last year a disappointment, not qualifying for the Players' Championship, and he said, I can't have that happen again.
And he even started off a little bit on the slow side, was not that active during season 1 of the 2015 Open Series, but really started turning on in season 2 and has not looked back since. 3
invitational top 8s with 1 win in season 3 of 2012, 25 Open Series top 8s with 6 wins, and 4 Grand Prix top 8s on the resume for the 29-year-old who currently resides in Roanoke, Virginia. Looking to make this one number 26, which is a really big number.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I have 2.
I have 3.
We should just have our own personal race. See if together we can catch them.
I would be shocked.
Yeah, me too.
I would be shocked.
Me too. 25 of these things for Todd Anderson. Getting ready here for game number 2 now. Currently down a game in a pretty back and forth affair there. Jeskai Black, Esper Tokens.
Especially with the structure the way it is now. You know, my 3 top 8s came during the split format, Saturday separate tournament from the Sunday separate tournament. Now that it's just one Open Series event over the weekend,
I forgot something.
Getting 20-something top 8 seems impossible to me.
I have 3. We're at 6 now.
Okay.
So 19 to go.
What do you count I have 2 draft open wins. Do those count?
No, especially because you beat me in one of them. No.
Okay.
That definitely doesn't count.
Okay.
What is wrong? You just look for an excuse to bring that up. That's what I feel like just happened here. Just to tilt me off a little bit.
I am statistically the most dominant draft open competitor of all time.
No one keeps track of those statistics. Let me guess, you've played 2 and won them both?
I played 3 and won twice.
Okay, yep. Got
Shaheen Sharani won a bunch of those things,
I think
too.
Shaheen has like 6 wins in those things.
He has a lot of wins in the draft opens.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me if he's the most dominant.
I would be surprised if there's someone out there with a better than 2/3 conversion rate.
That's legitimate.
Because those tournaments had like 64 people in them, so be surprised.
One of those a very fluky victory, but you know that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, my opponent just kept horrible hands in the finals, and
very, very fluky win in the finals of one of them. But you know, Magic is a game of luck, not skill. So you got rather lucky.
Yeah.
The opponent will go unnamed.
Yeah, the opponent in this, who kept Island 7-drop on the draw, will go unnamed.
They didn't have the scry rule in effect then, so I can't just mulligan. Well, the opponent can't just mulligan. Excuse me.
Right.
Mystic Monastery, Bloodstained Mire, search up a land. It's a Jace. Now, the nice thing about Vikram's deck, as we mentioned and we saw in the first game, pretty heavy amount of answers to Jace on turn 2.
And it's so nice that he's got 4 copies of Silk Wrap in this matchup, because a lot of Anderson's methods of winning these slower games are eventually I get to Ojutai's Command back one of my 1 or 2 drops, and they're incredible later on in the game. When they're getting exiled like this, it's much harder for Anderson to set that up.
There is a Silk Wrap. Jace down.
And it wouldn't even surprise me if Anderson brought in the 1 Erase out of his sideboard too to help fight the Silk Wraps here.
Given how that last game played and how these games are probably going to go a little while, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Dragonmaster Outcast, Soulfire Grandmaster, kick it on back.
Not quite Manus Rider. This is about as beat down as Anderson's deck is going to get here.
I have 3 mana, 3 power.
It's like a Horling Outburst.
It's basically the same card. This is a Duress. Ojutai's Command, Fiery Impulse, Prairie Stream.
Is it? I mean, this. Ooh, I was about to just assume that Ojutai's Command was getting selected here, and saying that Anderson was at risk here of just running out of stuff to do.
I'm a little surprised by the selection there.
Well, actually. Well, this way he gets the Jace to stick, and he can flash back the Duress.
Yes, that's definitely true. Only 2 cards in the graveyard right now for Kudva, and also for Anderson. I mean, that allows Anderson to actually get back his Jace. Too, because he has a Jace. Oh, no, sorry. His Jace was Silk Wrap.
Yeah.
Never mind. Take it back. Take it back. Makes a little more sense.
And this is kind of the best case scenario here for Kudva here, as he's going to be able to flash back the Duress and get the Ojutai's Command out, and has another Silk Wrap.
Well, that's just living the dream.
And then Anderson's just on, you know, a 2-2 and a 1-1 in play with some lands. Not a very powerful position.
I think he's a little bit short of flashing back the Jace right now, as he's already drawn and discarded. It'll come next turn.
Yeah.
But here's Master of the Unseen as well. Pass the turn back. Anderson going to draw. That's a mountain.
And there's no big rush for Kudva to get the Ojutai's Command out of hand, because right now all it is gain 4 life, draw a card. So he can let that stay around for a bit.
Here comes Soulfire Grandmaster along with the Dragonmaster Outcast.
He does have to answer the Dragonmaster Outcast suit. That's the concern.
That's the big one, because that's land 5. Yeah. Kudva going to draw. He'll activate Jace, draw and discard. I think ultimate price is what he's found.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
Jace is gonna go up. Pass the turn back. Ojutai's Command. Todd gonna cash that in to draw a card here, and I think gain 4 life.
And this is just great discipline here from Kudva. He knew that the last card in hand was Ojutai's Command. He knows Todd is extremely likely to just cast it at the end of the turn to draw a card. So Kudva could have, for example, gone ultimate price, flashback, ultimate price, kill your other creature. But then he knows the Ojutai's Command is getting back something he has to kill. Waiting for Anderson to cycle off the Ojutai's Command means that his 1 removal spell takes care of Dragonmaster Outcast, and the Ojutai's Command did very little.
Pass that turn back, will Vikram. Anderson will draw a card. He'll pass back now. Master of the Unseen. Gonna manifest. The only problem here for Kudva is a lack of lands. That's really about it. Here comes the attack for 2.
But this game has been surgical. I mean, he's picked apart Anderson basically every turn.
Murderous Cut with buyback. Anderson will get the cut back. Now he gets to draw. I think it may have been a copy of Painful Truth, so you can see the way he's separating his mana. I think that's exactly what it was. Big draw here, is assuming it resolves, and it does. So 3 cards come in at the cost of 3 life. Shambling Vent, Flooding Strand among the cards found there. Looks like maybe a copy of Crackling Doom too. Now, we saw Anderson wiggle his way almost out of a tough situation last game. This one looks actually harder than the previous one.
Yep. Especially because if Anderson starts playing to the board, Kudva can then take the Jace and start minusing to flashback Duresses and removal spells. Right now, Kudva is just plussing the Jace because there's really nothing better to do with it.
I believe Stratus to answer the draw. Going to take up the Jace to 9. Here comes an attack with the Manifest creature. Anderson going to fall a little bit lower. Monastery Mentor. Pass the turn back. Anderson going to sacrifice a Flooded Strand. Remember, he does have Murderous Cut in his hand. Going to get himself a Sunken Hollow. It's getting tough here for Todd. And Kudva is playing a pretty nice game thus far. There goes the Mentor. Anderson will draw. Copy of Utter End is timely, though I'm pretty sure you're supposed to kill the Jace. I don't think Mastery is that big of a threat yet.
No. And unfortunately for Anderson, I don't think he has the 8th mana. That would make it easy, where you could just buy back the Utter End.
Yeah, 8th mana? Well, there it is. It's just entering the battlefield tapped. Crackling Doom, redirect, pass the turn back.
Now he's got to crack it. Now that he has the 8th mana in play, next turn can be Utter End plus buyback.
It does make you wonder, as Infinite Obliteration was the draw here from Kudva, is there a point where Kudva's going to shift gears?
I think at this point, with Anderson having so much mana in play, that Kudva just has to get this Soulfire Grandmaster off of the table.
Yep, he's going to go with Ultimate Price to get that off the table. And now what's the follow-up? It's a Stratus Dancer face up. Okay. Flooded Strand the draw here for Anderson. He'll play that. Fire up the Vent. And now you can Crackling Doom, kill the Stratus Dancer, knock Jace down to 2. Vent will finish it off. And now it looks like Todd's catching up, but I feel like the reason he's able to catch up here is because of Kudva's mana issues.
Yes. And then the mana issues have prevented Kudva from playing efficiently. It's also really prevented him from using Mastery to much effect.
Yep. Now Kudva wants to take a look at what's in the graveyard, what's been exiled, because Infinite Obliteration might be on the way. So he might have a more face down. A lot of options here for Vikram. He's got a Jace, he's got a Monastery Mentor, he's got Infinite Obliteration. We'll get confirmation on what he's naming. It's name a creature card. He's going to go with Dragon Master Outcast. That's gone. The Grip, Disdainful Stroke, Utter End. Follow-up, Jace. Utter End, a clean but expensive answer. Anderson going to sacrifice his fetch land.
And it also means that Master of the Unseen would stick around.
Yep.
I guess that is a way to attack Todd's deck. If you Infinite Obliteration away his Dragon Master Outcast and then get rid of the Soulfire Grandmaster, he has to win, I think, just by going Ultimate with Jace.
Master of the Unseen.
He's got his own Masteries. Okay.
But that assumes he boarded him in.
Yeah. Todd's deck definitely is attackable on this front.
Yes.
He does not have that many ways to win the game.
The other thing, too, you see the clock go tick, 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 tick. Time is of the essence here. There's Utter End to take care of Jace. And Shambling Vent not going to go anywhere. Over to Kudva. It's a morph. And we know here in the booth it's a Stratus Dancer. Anderson will draw Mastery of the Unseen.
And with a big mana advantage, too.
Yep. This, yeah, Kudva's going to, I think, maybe read the Stratus Dancer, but no. Stratus Dancer counters quite a few things. It does not counter enchantments, though.
Yeah, and his hand is just not well suited for this kind of fight right now. And until he gets to 8 mana, Anderson's going to outpace him pretty easily.
I think Treasure Cruise may have been the draw. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see Todd fight over that. Now, here's Monastery Mentor. That's in. Here's Duress.
Great sequencing.
Yep.
Although Anderson equipped with 2 counters here for Treasure Cruise.
Stroke or negate down. Pass the turn back. Mastery activation. That's one of likely many manifests here for Todd Anderson. Time to attack. Ochtai's Command was the draw. Now what's interesting is if Todd was paying attention a little bit to body language there, Kudva kind of looked at his morph a little bit. And so we might see Todd potentially play Ochiai's Command on his main phase, but we don't. Not sure if there's anything actually to get down there either. I think Soulfire Grandmaster's gone for good. Here's Treasure Cruise, an attempted Disdainful Stroke, unmorph. Stratus Dancer's going to take care of that. It'll get a counter as well. And there'll also be some life being gained because Master of the Unseen being on the battlefield.
So many different little synergies, little combos.
You know we call that in the booth.
Do not.
It's good deck building.
It's good deck building.
Yeah. Treasure Cruise resolving, 3 cards coming. Duress, Caves of Koilos. Among those cards, there's also a Sorin there. Shambling Vents is the land. I believe Duress is the spell, and it is. Soulfire Grandmaster going to come back. Treasure Cruise was actually the draw from the Ochiai's Command, and that got hit by the Duress. A Monk token's going to come in here. Vikram's cast a bunch of spells this turn, so those creatures are pretty big. Anderson going to take all the damage. And now he'll untap and draw. Now he's got some big draws here, of course. Fiery Impulse is the one I'm thinking of the most right now.
Yeah, he can start making some real inroads here, especially if he gets the Monastery Mentor off the table.
Well, that's actually the card that he drew, which is insane. Fiery Impulse number 1. Gain some life. Come on in here with the Manifest token. And he's got 4 mana available to make another Manifest. The clock is underneath 14 minutes now. Now we're going to go back Kudva's way. One thing that has not shown up for him yet this game is Gideon. Another drawn Infinite Obliteration, but keep in mind with Infinite Obliteration, you can only name a creature card. So I'm curious to see what the creature card named is.
It's at least some prowess triggers.
It's Soulfire Grandmaster. But Anderson has 1 left on the battlefield to work with. And now here comes Sorin, which is another prowess trigger. And it's going to make these creatures even bigger. And they're going to have lifelink. And yeah, let's get it in here. These have been 2 incredible back and forth games.
So just chumping with a Mastery token, I think, leaves Todd dead.
I think so too.
I think he has to chump block with the Soulfire Grandmaster as well.
Now he could just shoot off the Fiery Impulse, but he would lose it for good.
Right.
And that would cause him to have to probably draw another one. Hey, it's getting tough out here.
I think he can go to 1 if he chump blocks just a token. I think everything in play now is 4 power.
4, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think 11. 4, 12. You're right, 12.
Yeah. Because there's 2 prowess triggers for the monks. Stratus Dancer's naturally 3 power.
Yep.
And then you have Stratus Dancer, then you have the +1 from Sorin.
So I believe in that exchange he should fall down to 1, not 4. We'll have to get confirmation on what his life total is. Crackling Doom. And now here are the attacks. Sorin down. He'll gain a little bit of life because of the Crackling Dooms that did take place there. And now there's another end. Trigger. Fiery Impulse now, because you want to get your life. Soulfire Grandmasters, they're gone for good.
Yep, there's nothing. And now, Todd still has his masteries here, but winning the game is going to be hard. He just does not have that many ways left to literally attack Kudva for lethal.
Attack for 2. Well, for me, if I'm Todd, is he going to play a Jace? It's just time to crank out tokens now.
Yeah.
You know, Shambling Vents on defense are going to be a little bit annoying. You got to hope that Kudva doesn't draw a Gideon, but I think that's the plan now. There's a Polluted Delta.
And now this is 8 mana for Kudva, and we're at parity on this race.
Oh, keep in mind, Anderson does have Crackling Doom in hand. That can take care of one of the Shambling Vents.
All right, I'm just talking about Mastery v Mastery.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, once Kudva hits 8 mana, then Todd needs to get to 12 to be able to outpace him.
Oh, sure, yeah. I got you.
And Kudva also has actual creatures he can unmorph too. Anderson's out. He's just got his Jaces at this point, whereas Kudva has Monastery Mentor, Dragon Lord Ojutai, and his own Jaces that he could potentially mastery into. All of those are huge hits.
Crackling Doom took care of the Monk token. Anderson going to draw and discard. Got to figure out what he wants to discard. Doing some math about how close he is, maybe activating Mastery 3 times a turn. Jace's going to flip, Telepath Unbound here, take a look at the graveyard, see what's available. Beep beep, Treasure Cruise. Don't mind if a dooski.
Anderson, this would be really good if he brought in as one erase.
It'd be great if you brought in as one erase. There's a land. Yep, no good attacks to be had. You mentioned land number 8, double manifest, pass it back. Why do I feel like we're in Miami? Green-white devotion mirror, why does it feel like that? I guess there's only 9 minutes left, so it's not too bad.
Right, we aren't over by an hour and a half.
Unmorph, Jace, gain some life. Might be time to activate. Just gonna pass the turn back for now. Anderson, gonna activate Mastery a couple times. In response, Kudva was gonna activate Jace. He'll draw and discard here. Gonna discard a Pluto Delta, it looks like. Now Jace is gonna flip. But this is all at the end step, so the Jace is gonna be at 5 and has not gotten the opportunity to tick up. Anderson's untapping. We're underneath almost 8 minutes here. Fiery Impulse to draw.
Sort of odd sequencing there from Kudva. I mean, you could have just done that on your own turn and shrunk down one of the manifest tokens at the worst.
A little surprised by that.
Or just cranked out 2 more mastery tokens. I would have been fine with that too.
Yeah, you get pulled in a couple different directions here as a result of that. You only get the mastery 1 more time. Now you do get to activate Shambling Vent. That doesn't get the block, however, because of Fiery Impulse. So that's down. And now it looks like Anderson's making a little bit of headway here.
That is 5 in the round. Active player finish your turn. At least 5 additional turns after this one. If you have a time extension or need assistance, please call a judge immediately.
Manifest tokens will trade. Anderson's got to get some damage through. Keep in mind, Anderson's got a Jace of his own and just ticked up to 3. There's a Flooded Strand. Pass the turn back. Ob Nixilis to draw. He'll deploy that. Ooh, Disdainful Stroke is a dagger there. It means he doesn't accomplish anything this turn.
Yep. And now Anderson really pulling ahead here.
Yep. Manifest. He's got 4 of them out there. Time to draw. I think we'll see him attack for 8. Kudva gonna fall down to 13. Jace, cash it in. I think Utter End there.
I would guess.
On Mastery. Yep. No punishment for continue to extend because you can't imagine Wraths, and that's going to do it in this game. Todd Anderson's going to win game number 2 here over Vikram Kudva. Jeskai Black, Esper tokens. These two are going to shuffle up real fast.
Yeah, that's been a nice back and forth affair thus far.
Yeah. These two games have been insane.
Yeah. Now seeing the Master the Unseens out of Anderson's deck, I'm probably bailing on Infinite Obliteration if I'm Kudva. I think it's only going to be good here if Anderson's actually iced by it, and that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, well, we just saw.
Right.
That he wasn't iced by it.
By two.
Yeah. So as a result, I think I'm with you. I think it's got to go. I think he's left without a choice. But there's also the element of there's not a lot of time to sideboard.
Yeah.
So might just have to present and say, you know what, I want to try to get this done with to the best of my ability. Players are already shuffling, ready to go. Quick update for you guys. We'll see this the players to watch at the beginning of the next round, but Caleb Scherer, he won his match. He's 7-0, as is Logan Mize. Big tournament for both of them.
Yes.
I'm secretly rooting for Caleb.
It would be a pretty incredible
It
rally.
would be insane if he was able to qualify for the Players' Championship.
Yeah, if he ripped off, 45 points in the last 2 opens, got himself in striking distance for the Invitational.
And really, when I think of Caleb, you think of the older formats because of Storm.
Yeah.
I don't even know he's playing this week, and I haven't got the chance to talk to him, and we haven't seen him in the feature match area yet. But second place last weekend in New Jersey, losing in the finals, of course, playing Storm in Legacy. And now he's 7-0 here in Denver. He's in 13th place on our Open Series leaderboard, and he's actually just playing Obs on aggro, we've been informed. So can he keep it going? Logan Mize, too.
Yep.
He's first player out right now. And this puts the pressure on a lot of people here. It puts the pressure on Todd, Tom Ross, Eric Hawkins maybe the most, because he's last person in right now.
Hawkins also having a reasonable tournament thus far.
Yeah, he's off to a good start. Anderson going to draw 6 cards as we're about to be under 4 minutes here.
We're on 5 now.
Yep. Top to the bottom, we think. Yes. Pluto Delta, sacrifice that duress shoe. Fire Impulse, Ultra Command, Soulfire Grandmaster, 2 lands.
It's still going to be a test for Kudva's deck to win inside of 4 minutes, even if Todd does not do very much.
It's going to take Monastery Mentor, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see what Kudva's selection is here.
You have not redeemed your...
Because now for Vikram, not only is he against a great opponent, he's against the timer as well.
Yeah.
Rabbit Master playmat, now is a perfect time to do so.
For Anderson,
Over at the main stage.
he'll just draw, play Pluto Delta, his land, pass the turn back, sacrifice that. We'll see what land it's going to be.
Make sure to do that. And
Looks like he
while
wants a
you're here,
basic.
You can also pre-register for tomorrow's premier invitational.
He's going to go Prairie Stream.
Legacy and Honor.
He'll draw. Swamp, Soulfire Grandmaster, under 3 minutes now. Case of Koilos, the draw here for Kudva. Land number 3 for him is a Flooded Strand. He'll sacrifice that. Not sure what land he wants. Basic Island, hiding at the bottom of the deck. It's a Murderous Cut. Soulfire Grandmaster's got to leave. Over to Todd. Shambling Vent the draw. He'll play Smoldering Marsh, pass the turn back, access to red mana. That was the card that Kudva needed to draw, I think. Well, that one works too.
Yep. And Anderson's hand via that duress showed no way to interact with this.
Autoran's a big top deck, but it enters the battlefield tapped, does the Shambling Vent. Kudva's draw on the last turn is Monastery Mentor. On this turn, it's Sorin. Kudva gonna make another token. Pump, come across here for 3. Anderson will draw. Crackling Doom. He'll play a Shambling Vent. Utterend's going to take care of Gideon. We're going to head back Kudva's way. He'll quickly untap and take a draw step here. There's a Swamp. It's a Morph. Taking up the Gideon. Excuse me, taking up the Sorin. Come across here for 6. Anderson's going to fall down to 10.
And Stratus Dancer this far ahead is going to be very hard for Anderson to work around.
Yeah, I don't know what other card it could be. There's a Pluto Delta. Pass the turn back over to Kudva, Will Anderson. Jace the draw here for Vikram. Gonna play a Monastery Mentor. That's gonna resolve.
I mean, you can see Anderson with Ochiai's command in hand, but he knows that the morph down is a Stratus Dancer.
Got to fire up a Shambling Vent to do some blocking. At least hope that he's allowed to. Gonna block the Morph. Smart play there. Gain some life. There's a Jace. Anderson at 6. Don't know what he can draw. Crackling Doom, Oceanized Command. About to be time in the round. Anderson's turn 0. Kudva's turns 1, 3, and 5. Anderson can just pass the turn back on the upkeep. I think we're going to see an Oceanized Command, perhaps. Going to get back Soulfire Grandmaster. Draw a card. Fiery Impulse isn't bad. Sacrifice this. Basic Plains. Smoldering Marsh. Down to 4. We're going to see that Fiery Impulse in a second. Yep, take care of the Monster Mentor, gain some life, pass the turn back. Soulfire Grandmaster should get the opportunity to block. It's going to be turn 1 of extra turns now.
I mean, Anderson might have a path here to get out of this with a draw.
It's a maybe. I think Shambling Vent might get fired up here. First things first, Jace. Pluto Delta down. Quick flip. Yeah, and that's going to do it. Vikram found the line. Murderous cut. He's going to win this match over Todd Anderson. 2 games to 1. Vikram Kudva, 7-0 here with Esper Tokens.
Yeah, clearly very excited about his win there. Helped out game number 3 there by Anderson's mulligan to 5. But you can see it's got the right tools for this kind of matchup.